Hello and welcome to the show. I'm Stacy Lee, one of your hosts,
I'm Gary Lee.
and we are so glad you're here. I'm actually very excited tonight about this presentation, this roundtable that we're having with a little witchy theme for Halloween. But for those of us who practice the craft, we practice all year long, not just during Halloween. And we will talk more about that. But first, we are going to go over housekeeping. So we are still looking for sponsors. The sponsorship opportunity you will have on here each month. You will have a ad placed, and then I will also promote your ad on my social pages. We have the Boo Bash coming up on October 26th at the Hoover House. I am super excited about this. We do this every year at the Hoover House. There's going to be a haunted history tour, a costume contest. Pam and Steve are going to be serving up root beer floats for $5 a piece, some finger foods, Deadly Grounds coffee, and dancing until your feet fall off. And I will be offering psychic readings during that event as well, from 1 to 7 before the event begins. And then this weekend we have Alba Twitch coming up. It's October 5th from 11 to 5 at the Columbia River Park. The Alba Twitch is the Lancaster County cryptid, similar to a Bigfoot, but smaller. There's been documented cases of the Alba Twitch back even when the indigenous lived there. So it's very interesting. Lots of history in Columbia, PA. We still have t-shirts and hoodies available. I'm making an order tonight. I have a couple people that have already reached out to me. If you order through me and I make my order, you're going to save yourself $5 a piece. And shipping, if I don't have to ship it to you, if I can meet you. So if you want one, please reach out to me tonight by the end of the podcast, because I will be making this order at the end of the show. And this is one of our sponsors, and I just wanted to kind of show them up here. There's three adorable French bulldog pups are on the hunt for their possum forever homes. Pups. Did I say that correctly? Here they are. Aren't they just super adorable? I got a chance to meet them this weekend, and the little potatoes, and they're just so super cute. And here we have Danielle Lynn, who is our sponsor, saying hello. She is one of the pup mommies. And they'll be ready October 1st. They have all shots, their worm, their microchipped health certificate, a goodie bag, starter food, and a baby book. You may contact them at this number if you are interested in any of the pups. And then we have our Moon Mist Crystals, our other sponsor. There's some upcoming events. They're having a Halloween Madness event on October 12th. And it is indoor vendors, tarot readers, raffles. It's definitely a place to go check out. Please go check them out. The Maine Paranormal and Horror Con is coming up next September at the Augusta Civic Center in Maine. One of our guests tonight is actually one of the organizers, and she will probably talk a little bit about that while we're on here. And Shauna says October 30th, they will be ready. I might have said September.
You said October 1st, I thought.
Did I say October 1st? Okay. October 30th, they will be ready. Today is October 1st, and they will be ready on October 30th. So without further ado, I am going to invite our guest on stage. We had planned on, I think it was 6 of us or 5 of us, and now there's down to 3 to talk about the Witchy Roundtable. But that's okay, because things happen, people get sick, and it's going to be a more intimate experience tonight. So I'm going to welcome Shirley Ann and Ashley to the stage. Hello, ladies. How are you?
Hello.
We actually might have someone else join us. They just messaged me back, so we might have a fourth, I guess you could say, in here. But how are you guys doing this evening?
I'm doing well.
So we have, Shirley, you are from Virginia, and Ashley is from Maine.
I currently live in Virginia. I'm originally from Massachusetts.
You were originally from Salem.
From the old Salem Village. I grew up in Lynn, Massachusetts, which is part of the old Salem Village. So I'm a Salem
really
witch.
Cool.
Yeah.
Salem Witch. That is really awesome. And then actually, you're not far from Salem, but you are,
You're
what, about
muted,
2 hours out
Ashley.
from Salem?
Still can't hear you.
All right. While we're waiting for her to unmute, I'm going to, Shirley, can you just give us a little intro about yourself and who you are and your experience with the craft?
Sure. So, like I said, I was born in Massachusetts, raised in Massachusetts. Didn't come down to Virginia until about 8 or 9 years ago. But
you hear me?
growing up right outside of Salem, yeah, we can hear you now.
Okay.
Growing up outside of Salem, obviously witchcraft was always around me. I didn't start off following the pagan path. I actually was born and raised Catholic, and I was quite active in the church until nothing too horrible happened, except that, my faith was shaky to start with, and things happened that made me want to look elsewhere. And again, with Salem being so close by, I was looking for some more natural type faith paths. Where I am part Native American, I wanted to try to go more natural, earth based. And so I got the heavy influence of Celtic and Scottish witchcraft from Salem. Definitely old world kind of stuff. And I never really got part of the in crowd there. I tried to stay in the peripheries because, well, people like Laurie Cabot, I mean, they're just, you held them on such a pedestal that it's almost like fear. It's like, I don't want to go there. But,
Yes, I got into that too for a little bit. Yeah. Like,
yeah.
oh.
And now it's like, whatever, it's Laurie Cabot, my first husband actually worked with her for a little bit. So it's the fear is gone. But again, that brings us into a whole topic that we can talk about, is fear of the unknown. Right. So, but I've been a practicing witch for, over 30 years, and I'm a devotee of Hecate, which is actually from the Greek pantheon, but I do lean very heavily Celtic. And I'm more of a chaos witch, which means that I relied heavily on intuition. I can do anything, anywhere, anytime. If I need to suddenly do something, I'll go into somebody's kitchen and say, I need vinegar, I need sugar, I need this, I need that, and just do what I never need. I don't need to have all my stuff with me, which makes it fun. So, I've done it a few times. Kitchen witchery, like literally putting
kitchen witchery.
Putting things together out of what they have in their house.
Yeah, so, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean,
so we did have Sadie join us. Sorry, go ahead.
Hello.
I met Sadie this weekend. I keep talking over you. Yes, go ahead. We'll talk more.
Yeah. So obviously I could go on for hours because I've been doing this for 35 years. But, to try to cut it down, that, I've been part of covens. I've not been part, and I've left covens. I'm very much solitary, but I work with others when I can and when I need to. I've seen a lot, and being an eclectic witch, I gather information from every aspect of life, and I'm able to put it all together, and have woven a tapestry of my own creation and for my faith path, and it's constantly evolving. I'm also a scientist at heart. Being a paranormal investigator, I'm not just investigating the spiritual part of it. I'm trying to figure out the scientific part of it, what's really going on. So it makes it kind of interesting. So I'll leave it at that, so somebody else has a chance to talk.
Okay. Well, first, I real quick want to introduce Sadie. I met her this weekend at the Paracon, or I guess it was a Paracon. It was a Cryptid and Supernatural Festival Expo. So I'm going to introduce her in a second, but I want to give Ashley a chance to tell us about yourself and your experience with the craft and how long you've been doing it. All the goods, all the things.
Oh my gosh. Well,
Spill
my
your
family
beans.
is very intuitive. My mom's a medium. my family has been into spirituality for a very long time. I actually just found out, which is actually really, really interesting, that my grandmother is an Italian witch, and she was an Italian witch. And back when she was younger, it was hidden. So when she was younger, you being Wiccan or pagan or anything was hidden. You never wanted to let anybody know that you were pagan. And there was like little things like that she would do that um like as far as like herbs and natural remedies and stuff like that she would do that I kind of thought so, but it wasn't until, I mean, she passed away, and I was talking to a friend um, actually a couple years ago, and she actually saw my grandmother, and me and my grandmother had a conversation with her, and she opened up about, you know, a little bit about her life because she has passed away, and I started putting the pieces together and talking to my aunt and my mom and stuff like that. And they're like, no way. Like, you're actually right. And then they started putting together stories from their childhood. And my grandmother never told them. So they started putting stories together from their childhood. And they had an aunt who was, they called her, what did they call her? Crazy aunt something. And they went to New Orleans to visit her all the time. And it was my grandmother's sister. And it was actually it was actually really cool because I'm like, so I come from a very long lineage of Italian witches,
That
which
is
is
so cool.
actually really cool to like find out and stuff like that. So it makes a little bit more sense. And my aunt's just now starting to like come to terms with some of the stuff in her life that she's been experiencing.
Mhm.
So it's kind of cool. I'm like, you were born into this. Like, this is something that you are born into that you can't just get rid of.
Yeah,
So she's learning a
exactly.
lot more about herself as well. But I mean, I don't like to classify um different parts of being a witch because I mean, everyone is their own path. That's what, like, I mean, you have the eclectic witches, you have ancestral witches, you have angel witches, you have ceremonial witches, you have kitchen witches, you have this and that. But like the classification, I don't really believe in.
I agree.
And I think
So, I
we
mean,
had
I
that
guess if you
conversation
have
a
to,
little bit in a group
yeah,
chat. Yeah.
if you
Yeah.
have to say anything, I guess I would be an eclectic witch because that's, I mean, you choose your own path.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But I mean, we are all pagan. I mean, paganism is our beliefs, and Wicca is derived from it.
Hmm.
So I mean,
Yeah.
as far as like, I mean, I practice a lot of different things. I'm not just one thing. Like I practice with
Hmm.
crystals, I practice with
Hmm.
herbs. I believe in a lot. Like I believe in the Norse mythology. I believe in the Norse
Yes.
gods, but I also
Hmm.
believe in earth, air, fire, and water. I believe
Hmm.
in, you know, good work. Like what you put out into the universe is going to come back to you.
Yeah.
We are all one with nature. So, I
Mhm.
mean, I can't really classify my beliefs in my religion.
So do you feel like you would do you practice the Wiccan theology, like the Wiccan follow that Wiccan path, or
I mean, I practice, I mean, we all are one with the calendar. I mean, if you want to talk about
Mhm.
like, you know, I do practice like the beliefs of the Wiccan calendar. Like I do,
Yes.
you know, follow Yule, I follow the winter solstice, I follow all the holidays
Hmm.
of the Wiccan calendar,
The
but
year of the witch. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
it I don't know how to explain it. It's but I don't
We did.
I don't
We do
follow
too.
one God.
He doesn't know much. He just rides along with me. He's like, we're
I don't
dancing
follow
around the
one
fire
God.
or
I
what?
mean, or one
No, he's
deity.
more like, is this, hi Pam. He's like, is this a holiday where we have relations?
Almost all of them do.
he's he's like, do we celebrate the swim through sex?
Sure.
Yeah.
Oh
And I think,
man.
like, before I have Sadie talk real quick, I do want to comment on that, like the year of the witch and the following the calendar. I think, and Shirley, correct me if I'm wrong, like a lot of that comes from the Celtic belief. Like a lot of those
Yes.
calendars,
Yeah, the
those
wheel of the
holidays are
year.
actually Celtic.
Yeah.
That like
The
kind of
Druids. Yeah.
the Druids,
Yes.
because that's my path. My path is the
Thank you,
Druid
Dan.
path,
Yeah, I was
and
sleeping there.
they come in, and I think Wiccan kind of, it's so mushed now.
Well, Wicca was put together in 1957 by Gerald Gardner, and it's
Yes.
a new age version of
Paganism.
Mhm.
it's an amalgamation of all of the old beliefs compacted and put in a way so that folks that are used to organized religion will have something to work with. Okay. So
Yes.
um
And we can
and
register as holidays, and like,
Well,
that's what I
right.
tell the
it's the
schools,
same thing
so
like
that way, yeah. Mhm.
like people who believe in God and Jesus and stuff. You have the Baptists, you have the evangelists, you have the Jehovah's Witness, you have I mean, it's the same thing with Wiccan. Like
Mhm.
you have different
religion.
branches and different denominations as far
It's
as your belief.
traditions. It's because they have the Gardnerian, the Alexandrian, the Avalonian,
Exactly.
Yeah.
it goes on and on. And with that, the one thing that Wicca has brought to the pagan community, for those of us who don't practice Wicca, if that's not our faith, it gives us a standard so that we can take witches of all faith paths and all traditions can come together. And if we understand how the Wiccan ceremonies are done, we can do it together, and we know what we're all doing, and we can do it as cohesively as
It's
one.
community.
Yeah, it builds
community.
a community.
It is, and it's the only recognized pagan organized religion, I believe, in the United States. Like registered, I believe.
Yeah.
You have paganism, you have Druidism.
Well, witchy, like that's what I mean. Like,
but I think that according to Congress, the way they have it written is it's actually witchcraft, not Wicca. They're using the two terms interchangeably, just like the public does, even though we know it's different.
Yeah.
So we're protected as long as that doesn't change.
Yeah. Because I mean, you have Wicca, you have paganism, you have Druidy, and you have a straw.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, those are like your four forms, I guess you would say, as far as like you have, Druidy is more of like the King Arthur era and stuff like that. And then you have like your Wicca, which is more of like the goddesses and like
there's also the church, the flying spaghetti monster, apparently.
This is true, Michael. You're right.
Monster.
You're right. I actually bring that up a lot when I'm talking about things in general.
Yeah.
But before we go too far into this conversation, I would like to introduce our fourth, Sadie. I met her this weekend. I know she handed me a oil of Hecate. She's like, Hecate wants you to have this, but I think you work with Lilith. Can you introduce yourself and tell us a little about your experience?
Yeah, so I'm pretty sure that Stacy did this on purpose to me because my tarot reading was, I really like to plan, and her tarot reading for me was you have to just impossibly do things, and I had 7 minutes you messaged me.
Yep.
But yeah, so I met Stacy this weekend, and I did share a little bit with her, but I actually was Christian for 15 years, and I probably left the church. I think we're going on like 4.5 years now. And so I'm relatively new to this, but since leaving the church, I realized that it just makes so much more sense. And people that know me that have known me for a while will tell you that I'm the happiest that I've ever been since I decided to make that change. And I do work with Hecate, like Stacey mentioned. I also work with Lilith and Callie and Loki a little bit. So just with that knowledge, you can probably assume I'm not following the Wiccan path just because of who I choose to work with.
Michael says he loves the shiny cabinets, pledged to perfection.
Yes. Well, actually, since I didn't have a lot of time, I'm actually at a friend's house. So those are her shiny cabinets. But yeah, so those are the ones that I work with. I am very, I guess, if I have to put a label on it, definitely pagan. Very much eclectic, and I pull from everything that kind of just makes sense. And I'm also very intuition based, so I kind of just do what feels right to me. Yeah, I don't
kind of like the chaos what Shirley was talking about.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
it has a scary name, but it's not scary at all.
Oh no. And
well,
I mean, I do work with.
Oh, I love chaos.
I mean, as much
I
as
thrive in chaos.
I mean, I feel like chaos is probably the only thing I've ever known, so I'm very used to being in chaos.
Which is why you want to control everything. But anyway, we're not going to go there. I'm not reading you right now.
Don't therapy me.
So real quick, before we, delve into some more subjects, I myself grew up Catholic, Shirley, like you, but I have a Native American grandmother. So it was like this mishmash of things. Yes, I guess I would be considered a pagan because I do believe in many different gods and goddesses, and my main is Mary. I still hold a lot of those Catholic foundations. So a lot of people are like, "What are you, a Catholic witch?" And I'm like, kind of, sort of. It's hard to explain. It's really hard to explain. I have faith in it. I know what I am doing, but it is really hard. I work with Hecate. I work with Lilith. The Norse gods. I'm a druid at heart. My background is Celtic. My background, I grew up, my family is from what we call an islander, all of those islands over there. So I do follow the Year of the Witch. I follow the holidays. So it's very different, so to speak. But I see Mary as more than one person. Like, I see the religions as them all being one, and each sector gives them different names. I'm going to call her Mary, but someone might call her Hecate, and someone else might call her, I can't think of the name that they call in Tibet, but it's all one, and it's how we interpret it and how we bring it to be, and how we feel like we can connect spiritually to something that's bigger than ourselves, and create magic in our own lives. I'm like you, I'm a chaos witch. I'll go, like, I'm a kitchen witch, like herbs, whatever, like, let's go in your kitchen. You got someone bothering you. Where's the freezer? And I'm bringing that up because we had a conversation with Sadie about that this weekend. I'll let you talk about that in a little bit, but so that's kind of my background. I've been practicing since I started with Wiccan. I was Catholic, went to the Wiccan path, studied Wicca. I guess I was about 16 when I started studying Wicca, and it just didn't feel right because it was very organized. I have some church trauma. So I just went on my own little path and was like, I'm going to create what I want to create. So that's kind of where I come from. I don't think
we all have church drama.
Yeah, anyone who follows Hecate usually has religious trauma or family trauma.
Yeah,
I can recite the Bible front and back, every single verse in the whole entire Bible. I was raised in a very, very Catholic family. I went to like Kiwanis. I went to like all the church functions.
I'm sorry.
I believe me, I know, but there was I've studied a lot of religions, though, not just like Christianity. Like, I've studied so many religions just to try to find my path.
Yeah.
And kind of like going off of that. So when I was like in the process of breaking down the Christianity beliefs that I had, now it wasn't Catholicism. I was more of like non-denominational and Pentecostal. I actually really started learning about it because I was a drug and alcohol counselor, and I had several clients with so many different religions. And my favorite thing was like, why do you believe what you believe? And so I would ask them. And I had one who was pagan. He was not Wiccan, but he just really started to explain it. And I was like, that makes so much sense to me. And so then I kind of branched off of that to find my own path. But again, and I actually just had this conversation today over lunch. I was talking to somebody who is very heavily Christian, and I said, it's not that I don't believe in the Christian God. I think that he exists. I just don't think he's the only, or what people think he exactly is. But I think that when someone refers to God, because she had said something about God, and I said, well, it's not that I don't believe what you're saying. It's just my idea of God is not one single person or gender, for that matter. I think that God and universe and spirit can be defined as all of them. And
All
to
of
say
it.
that,
Yes.
That's how I go.
Encompassing.
I will talk about it as the source. I will talk about it as universal energy. And so if we think of the source being the one all-encompassing thing that fills us all and is all out there, including multiverse, all that stuff. And then if you look at the mythology, because I'm an English, I have a minor degree in English language and literature. So our mythology is coded genetically in ourselves, in our DNA. So when we call to a certain deity that's in human mythology, it will grasp onto certain aspects of the source. So you have the whole source, right? But if we just want, if we're going to war, obviously we want to have the god of war on our side. So we just call to him, and that's it. And it pulls that information, that energy out. With Hecate, we know she's the protectress of witches. You know she is a badass bitch.
A badass bitch.
Yeah.
Okay. And she'll always be at your back. She's not kind about it. She's always at your back, and she will always make sure you survive. Okay.
Yeah.
And so when you need that kind of strength, when you call to Hecate, it's there and it comes out of the hole. We leave the love behind, and she comes out and she does what she needs to do. And so it's based on the mythology that we have gone through over centuries that we have built.
She's the triple moon goddess. Like, when you think about it,
right.
Like, like that's that. If you want to take it into symbology in different religions, that's Father, Son, Holy Spirit, like that's
exactly.
the Trinity.
You get the whole
Trinity, right? It's the Trinity.
Three-legged stool, you'll never fall down. Exactly.
Yeah.
But it's that mythology. And so no matter what deity that you call upon, or even if we get out of the deities and even get down into the, whether we're calling on gnomes or elves or any of the elementals, then we're able to pull that out of the source and compartmentalize it to work with.
Michael, I don't think there's any help for you.
You're walking too far away, Gary, with your ears.
So I mean, Loki would have a little fun. Just give him a little.
I was saying Loki.
Sugar. Yeah,
totally Loki, Michael.
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
And you know what?
Have fun doing
I don't know if you know Michael. How many of you know Michael? But oh wow, how many of you know Michael? Like, Loki is totally your god. Like,
I can see that.
Yeah, that is your spirit animal. But I guess I didn't mention that too. You talked about like the elementals, so like that. I'm an elemental witch. I totally work with all the elements. In my Helians.
Well, you do Reiki.
Yeah, so it is an elemental thing, but yes, I love that.
Yeah,
he also said earlier, I don't know if you saw what he said earlier, where is it? Something about a stain on his pants.
Oh, Jesus.
I don't know.
It was shaped in Moses or something. I saw
shaped in Moses. Yeah, oh, here it is. I've never been quite Michael, I want you on the show. We need to get you on here. I've never been quite religious, but I have a stain on the back of my pants that looks like Moses. But yeah.
Parting the Red Sea.
So someone did ask, or someone did say, I'm a rebellious saint. I believe you believe in what you want. Yes, they are all
Karen.
connected, but I don't believe in organized religions. And that, I think that is my thing. I do not
Yeah.
believe in these super organized religions.
Mhm.
You
I
know,
mean, there's organized religion within every religion, though. I mean, even within the
there is.
Wiccan religion, there is organized religion. Like some people will think that their religion is better than your religion, no matter what. I mean,
Mhm.
that's with anything.
Mhm.
Oh, yeah.
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 Yeah. But whenever you put people in power, and having any sort of lordship over anyone else, even like within this the coven structure, you're gonna and ego gets in the way, and
Yep.
ego and
Mhm.
power and money
Ooh, I
and
like that you
Just
said
like
that.
control
cults.
and
I mean, there's a lot of like Wiccan cults
oh
that think
yeah,
that they are the only ones that are
yeah.
right, and if you don't follow them, then you're the wrong. You're in the
and
wrong.
that and that
So
was their first mistake, is any religion that think that they're the only ones, they're not the one at all, you
I
know.
totally agree with that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I feel that one to my soul. I really feel that one to my soul.
Mhm.
There's so many. Like, have anybody watched the Book of Eli, the movie The Book of Eli?
Mm-mm.
I don't
Mm-mm.
watch a
So,
lot of TV.
well, this is a movie back, I want to say it was like early 2000s.
Hmm.
And it was a book or a post-apocalyptic. The premise of the movie is a post-apocalyptic world. And in this world, there was one Bible left. And they were all fighting over it. And they were trying to get this Bible back to San Francisco or whatever it was, like this main library, to house it there. And it was because they realized it was control, that the Bible was able, you could use it for controlling people. And
Yeah.
that goes back to that ego and control. And I'm not just saying the Bible. I'm not just saying Christianity. There's a lot of organized religions that think that they have the only answer. And I don't believe that. I don't believe that that is
Mhm.
the only answer.
Mhm.
Right.
But the options are there because some people need to be controlled. They need to have that structure around them because
Mhm.
they're afraid otherwise, that it's like
Mhm.
they were like bobbing in the ocean all by themselves without that control that's on placed upon them. And so all faiths have their place. And I, the way that I go about my
I
life
believe
is that
that.
I don't care what you believe, but if there's anything that I can do that brings you 1 inch closer to your belief and to your idea of God, then I'm doing my mission. Then I'm doing my
Exactly.
ministry. You
Yeah.
know,
You're helping
um,
somebody.
yeah, and
Yeah.
I try to always help folks, and
Mhm. Because
again,
isn't that what this is all about? Like,
yes,
I've always believed growing
Community.
up, like regardless of what religion I call myself, if I have love in my heart and I am giving it to others and helping people succeed
yeah,
and helping people heal, then that's all that matters. That's
it's all
what
that should
fills
matter,
my,
Right.
yeah.
because we're all trying to gain access to what's called Christ consciousness. I don't know if you guys have heard of that
Hmm.
concept
I
before.
have.
You would have. The Christ consciousness is the idea of this unending love that the universe provides to all of us, and it's sort of what Jesus was trying to embody in our stories of
Hmm.
him. That Christ conscious, and it's not the same Christ. It's a different term. So, because they were calling Jesus the Christ, this is Christ
Mhm.
consciousness. It's that concept of
Yeah.
this overarching, everything, love and healing and strength and growth and all of that. And that's what we're all trying to ascend to be in that place, so that we are no longer we're no longer saddled with the frailty of humanity, of ego and anger and all of that garbage. So that's what we're trying to get to. Will we ever get there in our lifetimes? Probably not, because we still are human.
It's
Right.
Yeah.
in love and light.
We have to deal with other humans.
And we do. And that's the thing. I talk so much about, I hate toxic positivity. I literally had, like, I have a motivation app that comes up. It gives me like little motivational messages every day. And today it said, no matter what happens or how bad it is, at the end of the day, count your blessings. And I'm like, yes, we should. I preach. I'm a therapist. I preach that all the time. Count your blessings. But there are some people that have had a shit fucking day. Excuse my language. And if they're like living in the streets, just got like
Well.
abused, nothing to eat, it's gonna be really hard for them to kind of look and see. Oh, I'm grateful that oh, at least I didn't die today.
Yeah.
And
What blessing is
they should.
that?
Right.
But we need to honor the more negative emotions. Sometimes we need to honor, like, oh yeah, I'm having a shitty day and I'm okay. It's okay. I can lay in bed all day and cry.
It makes you appreciate the better days.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm having a shitty day today, but hey, today actually went better than yesterday.
Yeah.
So Michael wants to know, why does the Easter Bunny hide her eggs from Jesus? So who wants to go there and, like, I guess some of the different beliefs around Easter? Maybe we should bring that topic up, like
Oh,
where the
God.
eggs come from, and the return of the sun, like the sun, SOUN and SON. Like,
Yeah.
Gary is going to bed.
Night,
Good
Gary.
night, Gary.
Good night. Thank
I
you
wish
for
Jeff
joining
would.
us.
Yeah, you're welcome.
I told him he didn't have to be on this one, but he came down for a little bit. So like in different religions, Easter is means different things, but it's a spring equinox.
Yep.
Yep.
Right.
Do I have fire? Did I make fire again?
Did you almost burn your place down again? You
No,
did
there's
that
no
last
stage.
that last time.
Everybody says good night, Gary. Ring your bell one more time. No, it's I have the medieval wicks for my candles, so they burn like this.
So it wasn't sage today?
No. All right. Good night, Gary.
Good night, Gary.
Good night,
Sleep
Gary.
well.
Good night, Gary.
So anyway, yeah. So I like I said, that brings up the Easter aspect of like how different religions interpret different holidays. To me, it's the spring equinox.
It's growth. It's fertility.
Fertility,
the eggs obviously
growth.
Fertility.
Eggs are fertility. This
Okay,
is the
whether it's
festival
Most
Gary
holidays
talked
are
about
derived
earlier.
from pagan holidays.
Whether it's chicken eggs or eggs coming out of our ovaries, it's fertility.
Yeah, so the eggs are fertility. And then you have like the spring equinox where it's equal day and night. Like we have that equilibrium where there's balance finally. But then we also know that it's going to be returning of the sun. The sun is going to
growing.
be is growing. So I sometimes I wonder, like, I've studied some theology. I haven't studied a lot, but when they talk about that return of the sun, is that correlated with Jesus, with the birth of Christ? Like return of the sun.
Well, it's the other way around. It's everything, all of the Christian religion, all their holidays are based on the pagan holidays.
Pagan holidays.
The pagan holidays and the wheel of the year is based on the cycle of the harvest.
Yes.
Okay. It had absolutely nothing to do with any of mythology yet. It was all about we need to make sure that whatever it is up there knows that we appreciate them so that we get more wheat this year. We want to be able to eat and survive. And so
it's all the same thing with Native Americans.
For farming as well.
Yeah.
Farming and stuff. Like we wanted to make sure our crops were plentiful. We wanted to make sure like we tracked the moon cycles and the weather cycles and the different oh my God, my brain is like shot tonight.
Well, times for planting, times for harvesting.
Yeah, time for planting, time for harvesting, time for like getting ready for winter, time for like getting ready for spring, summer, fall, the
spring lambing, the fall culling.
Yep, exactly. It was a lot about farming back then, and I mean,
because it was survival.
Yep,
it was just
that's what we got.
I mean, if you look at the Mayan calendar, if you look at the Mayan calendar and stuff like that, this goes way far back.
Yeah. Once we understood the concept of putting a seed in the ground and a plant would grow.
Yep.
Once we understood that if we if we're out hunting animals, and if we don't kill all the strong ones, that the herd continues, we have food next year as well. That once we understood that as a species, that is when all of this started. And so
exactly,
the
and that's called
mythology was
evolutionary
thrown around it.
psychology.
Right.
Sorry,
And then
I had to put my science in.
Well, I mean, witchcraft is just spicy psychology. I mean,
honestly,
it just is.
I like that.
And exactly, I'm a psychology major too, and I think like just my beliefs and stuff made me want to learn a lot more about psychology and how your mind works and how your body works and how your soul works.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, that's what got me into psychology, I think, was being Wiccan.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think for me,
yeah,
part of my construct of breaking down my Christianity was having my minor in psychology and just learning about it and just kind of being more interested in the brain. And my particular religious trauma comes from the Christian church saying, like, you know, you may have a chemical dependency, but don't you ever get on medication because that's from the devil. And that, you know, that's what it always was. Just pray about it. And well, I tried that for 15 years and it didn't work. So
there's so many misconceptions out there. You know, there's so many. I guess, you know, we see it in our paranormal world, like the rumors, like, you know, how much of this is one person started a rumor and it just kind of spread and spread and spread. Like
it's telephone.
Yeah. A very bad game of telephone. Absolutely.
Yeah, bad game of telephone.
Very bad game of telephone.
Well, the whole Bible is just a bad game.
But you know what? Like I don't
you're right.
I don't even want to, like, I'm not even against the Christian religion, only because
neither am I.
It's beautiful.
Religion should be a community.
It is very beautiful.
It should be a community. It should be based on a way of thinking that brings people together.
Yes.
And it's the people that take it way too far that is the problem. Like my whole family's Catholic. I have some family that's Mormon that breeds like fucking jackrabbits. I'm just saying, like
that was so stereotypical.
The rabbits brings it back to Easter.
But I'm not against like any sort of religion. It's how you take the religion and spin it against people. That's the problem.
That's right.
Judgment, you know, regardless
of the judgment. Like, I don't care
Yeah.
who you believe in. You could believe in the spaghetti monster, like you said. I don't care.
Right.
As long as
but if
it
you're
makes
treating
you
people,
happy, I don't care.
If it makes you happy and you're treating people good,
Yes,
that's right.
What does it matter? Yeah,
You're not hurting in the way. And I mean, a lot of that's the problem with, like, a lot of people think about witchcraft as well as Wiccan. They think that you are hexing people. They think you're putting spells on people. They think you're doing bad. A lot of people take being Wiccan and black magic and they combine them, and they think that was a lot of my problems when I was younger. Like when I came out as being Wiccan was, oh, you're the devil, you're evil, you are a horrible person because you are going to put spells on people, you are going to like do bad things. No, that's quite the opposite. Like, that's not what I want to do, because anything I do to somebody is going to come back to haunt me.
Mm-hmm.
And I've seen it happen. Believe me, when I was
regardless
younger,
of your
there's always a price to pay.
Yeah, I dabbled in a lot of stupid stuff when I was younger. And believe me, I paid the price.
That's one thing my grandmother always told me.
Screw with fate. You can't.
Well, and the other thing is that people don't understand that dark does not equal evil. Okay?
Exactly.
I practice a lot of the stuff that I do can be considered dark. But that's because in order to truly heal, sometimes you need to debride the wound.
Your demons.
But you need to debride the wound. You need to cut away that which is rotting in order to start from someplace fresh to heal.
And that's like the opposite I was saying about that toxic positivity. Yeah, exactly. I'm going to refer to you, Shirley, on the. Do you like a Shirley or Shirley Ann? Do you like the whole name?
It's a
Shirley
whole
Ann.
man.
So I'm going to refer to you on this one because, what she was talking about reminds me of like at one time, witches were revered as the healers of the communities.
Yes.
And this was way 1700s, and then we had this switch. And I do feel like it was a very much a patriarchal type of switch and the
Yes.
power and control over women.
Yes.
And then all of a sudden women became evil in itself just for being a woman. And
Yes.
I'm not a feminist. I'm not going there. I'm just saying like this is just history.
Yes.
And then we get to the point where we're being burned at the stake and calling evil for healing things.
Yes.
Healing people. So you being a Salem witch and coming from that background, like we have the Salem witch trials.
Yes.
Most of those women in the Salem witch trials were healers using nature's remedies to heal wounds or heal stomach aches or make headaches go away. And that
but
was what
even
they
more of them that were accused were landowners. And once they were put into the stockade or put into prison, guess who got the land they owned? The church.
The church.
Okay. So again, it's about control. It's about taking taking power of every sort away from the female.
Do you realize that's why priests cannot be married?
Mm-hmm.
Because if priests are married, the women get the land. And back in the Middle Ages in Europe, when Catholicism was the main religion, if a priest was married, when they died, the woman got the land and the church lost it.
That's right.
So again, back to that land.
It's all control. Once humanity got the idea that the male seed was required in order for the magical woman to bring forth life, that's when things started to go downhill. That's when they started to put controls in place. Marriage, that whole idea was to control population so that you didn't have men and women just mating with whomever. They needed to control the population so that you could control monarchy lines, right? To control, because they still had caste system back then. If you had a lord who went and did it with the scullery maid, well, her offspring wouldn't necessarily be the next lordling. You can't do that. Bad blood. No, they need, again, control. Being able to have the money and the power follow the proper protocols. So there's a lot of that crap out there, and it still kind of exists now.
It definitely still exists.
A little different is Judaism. With Judaism, the control that they had put in place, they actually left a lot of power with the women. So it's so when children are born in the Jewish faith, they follow the mother's tradition. Okay. But the rules that were put in place with Judaism was about health and welfare. Okay, that's why they have separate dishes and everything for dairy and meat, because back then they didn't have refrigeration. Okay, cross-contamination
thing. Yeah.
Right. Cross-contamination made you sick.
They have separate everything, separate like pots and pans, separate everything.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Right.
And the idea that they go through, when they're doing the when they cannot have unleavened bread in the house, and they pour boiling water on all their counters to make sure there was actually no trace of any sort of leavening in the house. They were sterilizing their house. It was cleaning stuff.
Yeah.
It was all health and welfare. It wasn't necessarily the same type of control that the other Christian faiths were putting on their peoples. And again, some people need that kind of control on them, but because it's been unchecked, it's become what it's becoming now.
Yeah.
And we have to continue to just fight and continue. We're starting to rise up. Pagans are rising up.
We are.
We have
women in general are rising up, and yes.
It's so like it now. I feel now more than ever like being Wiccan and being pagan is way more accepting than it has been in years. When I was
I
younger, it was
know.
a no. Like,
You were
Yeah.
secretly meeting on Sunday evenings in
yeah, or you
somebody's
were
basement.
sacrificing
Yeah.
animals and children and you name
Oh
it.
yeah.
Like when I was younger, when we were in the Catholic church or whatnot, like my dad was like, if you are a witch, like on Halloween, you can't celebrate Halloween because witches go up on the mountain and they sacrifice firstborn children and this and
That's
that. Like
Hollywood.
that's what the thing
Yeah.
was. And nowadays it's like it's more accepting. Like it, which is good. I mean, it's more accepting with a lot of things, now you have like you're more welcome to come out of the closet as being gay or lesbian. You're more welcome to come out as being a witch or pagan or whatever,
It's the
which
broom
is
closet.
kind
All
of
the
good.
closet doors
Yes,
are open.
the broom closet. Yep.
Yep.
So I want to bring up what Darren says, like based on
Mhm.
what
Yes,
you just said, like it
this
kind of
is
ties
true.
in. Like it's you have, we've been practicing for a while. And then you have the fad. It's become
Yep.
TikTok
The
famous. Like
baby witch.
Yeah.
This
Oh,
is the
well,
thing. The
God.
baby witch.
hold
I
on,
knew
hold
you were
on.
gonna do this. I
I
knew you
know,
were
but
gonna do
hold
this.
on.
But
We have
this is
Sadie
huge.
here.
Yes,
Sadie
no, that's
here
okay though.
would
This
be
is actually
considered a
good.
baby witch.
But does she
But
call herself a baby
Do
witch?
you call yourself a baby witch?
No, I don't.
Have you?
No.
Good.
Okay, good.
okay,
You're
thank
not.
you.
Okay,
Only
so
4 years in. That's fine.
but
Baby witch
now
sounds
it's the
no.
fad. It's the
Yeah.
fad, like the baby witch now. Like you can be new to Wiccan, but you don't have to be a baby witch.
Right.
But
Mhm.
everyone likes to call themselves a baby witch.
That
Mhm.
means that they don't actually have the faith that follows up what they're doing. Because
Yeah.
what we are is we're
Or they're
following the faith
confused
out of
and
fashion.
doing it out of show.
Mhm.
Mhm.
And the new age, the whole new age thing that has given rise to us being able to come out of the closets
Yes.
has been a blessing and a curse. It's been a
Yes.
blessing in the sense that we have been able to come out of the closet and we are more accepted and all of that. But at the same time, it's been a curse because we're coming out with things like baby witch and
Misinformation.
oh
Gray
yeah,
witch, white witch,
misinformation.
black witch.
oh my
Yeah.
god,
Like,
and all
Yes,
over
the misinformation is very huge. Like
and
I don't mind like taking people under my wings and helping
yeah,
them because I would rather have you learn and I will help you learn whatever craft you want.
Mhm.
mhm.
because we know where to go to
I would
find
rather
information.
have you do that than put out misinformation into the world. So if
Yeah.
you want to learn what the Wiccan life is about, if I don't even know it, I'm going to find out to make sure you know the
Mhm.
correct way of things because the misinformation is huge and it spreads like wildfire. TikTok is the hugest example of that.
Yeah,
Hugest
Yeah.
example of that with
So not
misinformation.
yeah.
Please
yeah.
don't take your information off of TikTok. It's horrible.
Mhm.
And if we
Horrible.
go back to psychology, we
Mhm.
have to get the word out there that not every aspect of your life needs to be dealt with a spell. Okay, you broke up with your boyfriend, you don't need to do a cord cutting. You've known him for 3 months.
I know. I grew up with my daughter. My daughter is
Cord
15.
cutting
She's like,
different
Mom,
generation curses. You
I'm
know,
can
gonna
I put
turn him
this?
into a
Yeah.
mouse.
My
yeah.
daughter's like, Mom, can I put him in the freezer? And I'm
Why? You've known him for 3 months.
Hey, there's a few people
like,
I'd like to put in the freezer. Don't get me wrong.
You're not just
well,
the
I had
jar,
a
right?
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So,
What-
Sadie, I would like you to speak on this because you are a newer practitioner. I'm not
Mhm.
calling you a baby witch.
Yes.
Like, will you speak on that a little bit? Like, you obviously, like, where were you introduced to witchcraft?
So it is kind of interesting because while I've only been practicing for about 4.5 years, I was not raised Christian despite being Christian for 15 years. I know I look like I'm 12. I'm not actually 12. I'm 29.
She's not.
But
She's not as young as she looks.
right. But I grew up in a family that didn't really practice anything. Now there was some like faint Lutheran stuff, but so I do have some Native American in me, and I actually grew up going to Native American events where we were involved in that, and so I was always kind of around it, just not called witchcraft per se.
Yeah.
And then I kind of did my own thing and went to Christianity for 15 years. And then when I left, so I was already starting to break stuff down, but my mom was like, here, I got this crystal off my friend. And then I was like, oh, wait, I had these crystals when I was a kid. And it kind of just re-triggered everything I knew as a child. And I just got deeper into it. And I do find myself just identifying more with those native beliefs because they're what I grew up with and what I knew.
Yeah.
But I will say that TikTok, while it can be a great tool, it is also a huge problem in some cases.
It can be both. Yes.
Yeah, it can be both. And a lot of the bigger people on TikTok, when you were trying to find genuine research and asking questions, they're like, well, go do your own research. Just do it yourself, which, yeah, in some capacity. But also I do think there is benefit of having somebody being willing to talk to you and guide you through stuff. And so it was a lot of figuring out my own thing without any guidance, if I'm being honest. Not until I think 2 years ago did I have any guidance at all. So with that, it was just finding what makes sense to me. And I didn't put a name on it for the longest time. I was like, I'm not a witch. Like, that's not a thing. And everyone keeps saying it. And then I was like, well, okay. If you want to put a label on it, okay, fine. But
yeah,
I was without a name. And I would argue to say that I have been most of my life, because even in Christianity, I've always had a more powerful energy, but they called it the hot healing hands of Jesus is what I was told it was called growing up.
All right.
And so it just, I just was able to reclaim what I already knew and what I grew up with. And, but it has been a bit of I guess, a journey, because like I said, there is a lot of misinformation out there. And when you're first trying to learn stuff, it's just popping up on your For You page over and over. And so it's tempting to take that as a fact without doing your own research and finding the correct people to help as well. Because also, if we're being honest, let's be real, Google has a lot of misinformation too. So
Absolutely.
Guys, I have to go help my son just for a minute. So I'm going to ask you guys just take over on this conversation. I'll be right back.
Okay.
And in that vein, you also have to be wary about what authors that you are reading as well.
It's true.
Right.
Because some of them are true practitioners and have led covens, been part of covens, and they understand all of this. And then others, there's a lot of those books out there, especially ones that have been coming out in the last 10 years or so, that are written by bots.
Mm-hmm.
That there's not an actual real person behind it. They just realize, oh, the New Age thing is really cool. Witches are really cool. Let's make some money. Let's just throw together some books that mean nothing.
Right. And I think for myself, one of the biggest ways that I've kind of combated that just for my own research is that I just sort of ignore most of it. I just kind of mind my own business. And when you do just kind of watch those things, my favorite is like, okay, if you let someone cleanse the jar.
Yeah.
Why would I do that? But okay. But again, like when I do kind of get involved in that or just come across it, not really involved in it, like I'm able to identify like, hey, like this isn't exactly fact. And then also just sharing like my own journey and being willing to be that person that is like, hey, like I know you're identifying as a baby witch, but you're not a baby witch because you're not a baby. So that being said, you're just new to this and I don't know a whole lot, but I will tell you and help you understand what I know.
Exactly. And that's true. Like if you have questions, you are more than welcome to friend request me.
Okay.
And ask me questions. I have no
Same
problem
here.
helping people. I would rather have you get good information than misinformation.
Right.
Yeah. I have a few people that I
Yeah.
mentor as well. So yeah.
And I know people who are into a lot more things that I'm not even knowledgeable about.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd rather redirect you to them. Hey, like I don't know anything about that, but I know somebody who does.
Right. Absolutely. And I'm just that way as a general rule of thumb. So I still have a crystal business, but we did have a storefront until recently. But if I don't have it, like I'm saying like, hey, like, why don't you try this one in the area? Or even at the cryptid event we were at, someone asked me for Ziasite and I didn't have any. And I was like, hey, I think Elena has one, like 2 tables down, like go check out her table. Or someone asked me if anyone did readings. I said, I'm not doing them, but Stacy right here is. And
I did the same thing with Elena. Like someone asked, like,
Yep.
you're only doing tarot. And I'm like, yeah, but Elena's doing past lives. Like,
Mhm,
and I just felt that that person was like, needed Elena. And like, I could,
mhm.
you
Yeah.
know, people who come to our events, like, they're there for a person. Like everybody at my table is there for a reason,
Help
Right.
each other.
you know, and I'll pass it down, you know, like,
Right.
Well, it's because it's not about competition. It's about
Oh.
finding
No.
the
It
right
should never be
person.
about competition.
Right.
Right.
Again,
bring that
goes
word
back to that
community
community.
back.
Right. Back to that
Well,
community.
and who am
Mhm.
I to decide that I should intercept something that spirit was trying to set up as a potential relationship just because
True.
I want to be greedy or I want my ego to get in the way?
True.
I have no place there. So I will always be like, hey, like, I don't have this, but
Yeah.
you know, Stacy might have this or Shirley Ann might have
Mhm.
this. So I will refer
Yeah.
them to that person.
Yeah, it's true.
So I
It's
just want to
true.
call out Michelle real quick because she's one of our guests that was supposed to be on tonight. She is not feeling well and could not come on camera, but she is in our chat. And Michelle, I'm so glad you're here with us, and I hope you're feeling better. And please, let's all send her some very healing energy, so this sickness passes her quickly. And that's what this is about. Like that's what we do. Like, you know, is try to help others.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because we all have different gifts. And the gifts themselves, even if we both had the same gift, it manifests itself differently.
Absolutely.
And if someone's coming to us or if someone needs help, I might not be able to reach them energetically where Stacy can, or vice versa,
Yes.
or you know,
Mhm.
whatever. And so, you know, so I don't like if I go into I go to a convention and there's like 7 readers. I walk by each table, feel them out.
Mhm.
Who's going to read
Mhm.
me today? Because I
Yeah.
need to know which one
I
I
do that
need,
too.
you
Mhm.
know? And then sometimes it turns out I don't need a reading at all because
Mhm.
I happen to walk into somebody who tells me what I needed to know, you know,
Right.
and it's all about that experience. But again, it's not like I said, it's not about competition. And even if
Thank
we
you,
had
Darren.
all the readers all up in a row, the ones that needed to read that day will read all day long.
Right. And you're gonna be
Exactly.
drawn to the one you're supposed to go to.
Absolutely.
Exactly. I
calls
just
to
did a
you.
psychic fair where we
Calls to you.
had 15 different readers and healers in the room. I mean, we it was very well attended. So there was a lot of people there, and everybody was in the right space for people, you know. And it was
Mhm.
towards the end of the show, and there was a people waiting for other people, and they're like, oh, we're just going to sit here and wait instead of go to one of the readers that were open because they wanted that reader, and that was where they
Mhm.
were supposed to be. And I trust that, and I like there is no competition like that. That's we are here for a purpose, and the right people are going to come to us for that purpose.
Absolutely.
right.
And I know that well, Stacy barely knows me, and you guys don't know me at all. I am somebody. I will be your biggest hype girl. I am going to hype you up. I
I
love
know
talking
you
about
were all
this.
like, I hyped you up to like the Lunar Fest, and
Yeah.
I told you all about you, and sent him your poster, and I'm like I'm not used to that. I am starting
Mhm.
to get to it because
Oh,
there's
so
a
Stay
lot of
open to
competition in
it.
this world.
you probably met my man this weekend.
Jeff, this is Jeff's wife, the one that was laying on the stage, the one laying on the
Okay.
The
stage,
Ouija board guy.
the one that
Okay.
you refused to sit in my chair and wanted Reiki on and sound healing
Oh,
on
okay.
the
Okay.
stage.
Yeah.
That's
Okay.
his wife. Yes, there he is
Heard
with
my
no
man.
shirt
He's nosy.
Yeah.
yes. Um, yeah. So I mean, like ladies, it's such so refreshing. You know, I'm going to say this, like, no offense to anybody, but I was very picky about who I wanted in this chat because, you know, I wanted people who, you know, have this open mind that are not competitive, that have different styles and aspects, but we do all come from that same like source energy, like we were
Mhm.
talking about, Shirley
Yeah.
Ann. I call it source. I think I call it more source because of Reiki. That's what Reiki calls it.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's all about love. It's all about
Mhm.
healing. I think healing more than, I mean, not more than love, but it's all about healing. So I want to go into spell work. I want to talk a little bit about that before we end in 20 minutes. So
Did everyone do their cinnamon?
That's what I was going to bring up. We talked about
Yes.
cinnamon.
Yes.
Actually, why
Oh,
don't you talk about the
I
cinnamon and talk
love
about
it.
what that is?
Okay, so cinnamon is very much it for prosperity. And the first of every single month, you you take cinnamon, and what you do is you put it in your right hand, and then you go outside and you face in your front door.
Jeff's
And
eating his
cinnamon is
own
really good
stuff.
for bringing abundance and prosperity into your life, and it cleanses you for the new month. So what you do is you blow it into your front door as you think about how you're going to prosper for the next month, how you're going to have abundance for the next month. You can say like chants, like a lot of people like say stuff or whatnot, and just blow it into your front door. And then you don't clean it up. You have to wait until the next day, and then you can clean it all up. But it brings prosperity. Like just these little things help bring abundance and prosperity to your life. And I just thought it was great because like today is the first.
Mhm.
So
Today is
like
the
I was
first.
thinking about cinnamon spells.
Mhm. So I'm going to like that's not something I practice. I don't.
Yep, same here. I've never done it.
You've never done it? You have to
I've never
now.
been
I
taught
don't
that.
really do it much either.
I
It's great.
do.
It's just something fun, and like it
Mhm.
it makes you go into the new month like thinking happy thoughts and clears your
Yes.
mind and helps you like think of good things for the next month.
Hmm.
So
I've been
that
seeing it
brings
all
in
over
like
the internet, and
yeah.
finally I know how to do it.
Yeah.
So that brings into like spells are intentions, right? Like
Yes.
they're intentions of what you want to manifest. So like I do something very similar, but not blow it in the house. I have a like more of feng shui. I have a money bowl in my money corner of my
Yep.
house, and it does have cinnamon in it,
Yep.
and bay leaf, and all these traditional like abundance type herbs. And each month I'll light a green candle. I'll write on my bay leaves, and refresh the bowl. And I use like rice because it's very
Mhm.
abundant. So that's a monthly thing for me, whether I do it on the first of the month. I'm not very like I'm a chaos witch, so like, oh, it's the third,
Yeah,
yeah,
whatever. Close enough.
Oh wait, I forgot on the
close enough.
first. So
So, I think when it comes down to spells are really intentions.
Yeah, 100%.
Like it's about the intention to manifest something you desire. Um,
And you have to believe in it as you do it too, and believe in yourself and have that confidence, because
yeah.
you can have the most perfect spell that
Mhm.
works every time, unless someone doesn't believe in it or believe in
Yeah.
themselves. It won't work.
Like me, like I don't ever do the cinnamon thing. It might not work for me because I like Ashley, it probably totally works for her. They're doing great things right now. They actually are. Their abundance is like growing for them because you saw her look on her face. You felt that energy. She was talking about it.
It makes you
Like
happy. It makes you
Yeah.
it really does. It's that intention. Like, she was like, yes, this is giving me everything I want. Um, and it has like there's great things happening in her life. So it comes down to like each spell is personal. I mean, yes, we have our like cord cuttings, we have our protection spells, we have our putting people in the freezer.
It's an old
or my
Australian thing. It's
feelings are in the
wonderful.
freezer right
That's
now.
my favorite one.
I've only had to do it once, but it worked.
Yeah, it
There's quite
does.
a few
Or
people in
even
my
like
freezer, and my
I
feelings are
know.
there too right now.
Like, can you elaborate, Sadie, on like we talked this weekend, like you went to your therapist, like and yeah, go ahead and tell that story.
Okay, so background. I'm just so you guys all know. My therapist is also actually pagan, so that kind of opens the door to have those
Awesome.
conversations with her. But I was going through a rough time, and I tend to feel things like super intensely. I always have. It's just kind of who I am, and I was just really kind of going through it, and my feelings are in the freezer and have been for about a month now. And I was going to take them out, but I was not ready to quite do that yet because Stacy did Reiki on me at that event, and she sort of like broke something in my heart chakra, and that's a lot of feels. And I'm still feeling them while they're in the freezer. But they're there right now to just kind of, my intent was to sort of freeze those bad feelings out. But
You gotta feel it to heal it.
I know. And that being said,
Letting them chill.
What was that?
You're letting them chill.
Yeah, and they didn't even freeze completely, because I don't think I ever actually wanted them to freeze completely. I just needed them to back off for a little bit. I just needed to be able to function without feeling things so deeply, because I wasn't getting anywhere. I tend to, my mom is not really into spells at all, and she's like, "Why do you have people in your freezer?" And I'm like, "Well, that's the nicest thing that I could probably do to them if I don't want."
Can we clarify that you don't have real people in your freezer? Can we clarify what that means? Because right now there might be people watching that were like, "You have what in your freezer?" Let's clarify what that means.
So a lot of people will do a freezer spell. Basically, you write the person's name, and if you have identifying information on a piece of paper or what you want, and fold it away from you, and then put it into a freezer safe container. Or I like to use Ziploc bags. That way nothing breaks.
Oh, that's an idea.
It is an idea.
Oh, yeah.
So I just use a Ziploc bag,
jars.
fill it up.
What bag?
Ziploc bags.
Ziploc.
Like
okay.
sealable bags. That way I don't have to worry about glass getting too cold or breaking or anything like that. And it saves space, because you can fold them flat if you need to.
Yeah.
So I write their name and the intent or whatever it is, and fold it away from me, and then stick it in the freezer and just forget about it. Just literally just put it in the back and forget it's even there, because the idea is to just freeze them where they are or freeze them out. It can be done two ways. I tend to do it to freeze people out, to kind of just stop like having whatever they're doing a negative thing to me in my life. I just freeze them out to keep them out of my lane. And the way I think about it, what was that?
They're bad intentions towards you.
Oh, absolutely. And my rule of thumb is like, if I do those kinds of things, if I'm freezing you from doing a specific thing, if you're not doing that harmful thing to me, it's not going to affect you. So it's like, I said it with the intent of that. And I don't have real bodies in my freezer, but I have lots of Ziploc bags in there right now.
Okay. I just felt like we had to clarify that, because, there are some people that might not know this practice, and they're like, "What, you froze people?"
Right.
We have very big freezers.
The police are going to be knocking on my door.
I was thinking, what is that horror show that had people in the freezer? Like I'm trying to think of which, like, what if it was B-rated?
Right.
Yeah,
I was like,
a lot of horror shows, but
Jeffrey Dahmer, like,
yeah. Well, that was a true story.
But no, I remember like watching this one like B-rated horror show, and like they opened the freezer and this whole body and it was in there, and it's like one of big chest freezers.
So that's an impressive size freezer.
Well, I don't know, because I'm a social worker, so I do work in some very cryptid type cases, and
you're not wrong.
That might have been a true story.
Okay, so I actually know somebody had a fetus in a freezer. So yeah, no, it's not as far-fetched as it may sound.
Yeah, it isn't. It isn't. Oh, you know what? I think
my sister-in-law has her uterus in a jar.
But I've heard that. But that's a little different than. Well, it probably would not result.
No, it's not different. It's just in the jar, not in the freezer.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. I mean, I see that. So it's in a jar. A lot of people save different body parts after they've had surgery and pregnancies and stuff like that. So
I can understand that.
I know I do a lot of oddities events. I know Ashley, you do too. I don't know Shirley, and if you've ever been to an oddities, or Sadie, but there's lots of things in jars.
On my wall, so that should probably tell you where I stand with that.
I have raccoon balls.
I love
in a jar. I'm not joking.
So much.
Wait.
Oh God, she's gonna go get the raccoon. Okay. Actually, we are trying to reduce the stigma, not increase it.
Okay, yes, we're very weird.
I can't find it, but I have a little dude in a jar.
Oh,
okay.
Was that like a salamander?
It's a lizard.
I say it's like a lizard of some sort.
I
All
can't
right.
find the raccoon balls.
So
Or
she has wet specimens. So that's a
I have
sign.
a lot
Yeah,
of
there
wet
we go.
Wet
Wet
specimens.
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 Yeah.
And I can say that most of the people that I've run across that do wet specimens, they're very ethically sourced.
Yep.
They don't kill animals to put them in jars. It's
Yeah.
usually from some sort of
I
thing
think
that
they're in my
happens
daughter's
to this
room.
animal. So
And if you are looking to get into wet specimens or even like insects, like dried insects, feel free to ask them if
Mhm.
they're ethically sourced. It's not offensive. I do it when I buy things from
Yeah.
people because I'm not trying to buy things that were
You should
intentionally
see how many
unalived.
dead bats I have all over my house. You'd be shocked.
And
Mm.
most people, if they are ethically, they will actually have a little sign that says that they are
Yeah.
ethically sourced.
Mhm.
It is a thing. I mean, I have a deer carcass on my wall. It's to me, it's not much different than that.
Right.
It's just a little creepier in a jar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's more of a, I don't know what it is. I think it's that gag
Oh,
factor of
I
me.
love
Oh,
Like, I'm
that's
that.
fine with
cool.
that. That is cool.
That
But
is
when you put them in a
cool.
jar with liquid, I think it's a gag factor for me.
Yeah, it is. It is. I can smell the formaldehyde from middle school science class.
I'm obsessed with
Yeah.
bats. I have so many dead bats. Like I have probably just as many dead bats as Jeff does Ouija boards.
Oh,
So
heavens.
why don't we see the dead bats at the shows?
Yeah, I love dead bats.
They're in my house. I'm not bringing them all to the shows. I have too many Ouija boards.
But do you like? Did you make your bat art there? Like, did you make
No, I just
Okay.
buy them.
Oh, okay.
I
No,
was gonna say maybe you should pick up that hobby since you say you have lots of dead bats.
I have
That's
too
fair.
many
It's a lot
other
though.
things going on than
Mhm.
doing dead bat hobbies. No way.
So before we end, I want to ask, is there anybody in the comments that have any questions? I think we've lost a lot of people at this point because it's getting to that time of night. If anybody has any comments or questions for us while they're thinking of their comments and questions, I am going to give the spotlight to Ashley because I want her to promote. I know we're going to have you on for a separate occasion for this and we're going to talk about it, but you have something amazing coming up here in
Oh my gosh!
next
Sorry,
year.
I'm just getting over like a
I
crazy
know. I remember how
cold. I
sick
had
you were.
sinus infection. I've had pneumonia. I'm a disastrous mess. But we are actually next September, 6th and 7th, we are doing a paranormal and horror convention in Augusta, Maine. And we have a whole bunch of celebrities from different movies, you name it, that are going to be coming. We have Jason from Friday the 13th. We have tons of different celebrities. Please follow us on Facebook. I think he's on TikTok too. Facebook,
Yeah, he is.
TikTok, Instagram, you name it. It's going to be huge. We are actually working on another thing that's going to be coming to the event. Hopefully that's going to work out, but we'll keep everyone posted. But we're going to be doing it for the next 5 years. So we have the event held for 5 years. We are taking vendors. If anyone wants to be a vendor, please reach out to us. You can reach out to me or Jeff. Jeff's Traveling Boards of Wonders is my fiance's thing, and we're putting it on through that. So look up the Maine Paranormal and Horror Convention, and you can see everybody that we have coming. We have way too many people coming to even name right now. We have Ronnie, that was on Destination Bigfoot. We have John Zaffis. He's going to be there as well. We have the person who drove the bus for the. I'm not the right person to speak about this. This is Jeff's thing. Who drove the bus on or drove the truck on, what is that? The Pet Cemetery. He drove the truck on the thing that killed the kid on Pet Cemetery.
Oh yes, Grandpa.
I'm trying to pull up the thing. I'm like,
It's Grandpa something. I did all the graphic thing. I know all that.
I know. What are you
I can't
doing?
remember it. Like, no, right?
So we have a lot of people coming for the event. So it's going to be really cool. We are accepting more vendors. We are accepting sponsors. We're accepting volunteers. We have a whole bunch of psychic mediums coming. We have people selling all different merchandise. We are working on getting 14 tattoo artists that might be joining our event,
Oh, cool.
which is going to be absolutely amazing. We also have, who else is coming?
Hold
We have a
on.
whole,
I just
I
had
know,
it up.
I know, I'm trying to look up the thing. You like sideline me here.
All right. Oh no, that's the wrong one. Hey,
There
Jenny,
we
this is yours.
go.
That was my last
Alan
week's guest,
Danzinger. He is
Danzinger.
part
Yeah.
of Texas Chainsaw Massacre. He's going to be there. We have Bob Elmore. He played Leatherface. We have Santiago.
Oh, I
He is
love
the
Nancy.
funniest person on the face of this
He's
earth.
going to be on
If
the
you have
podcast
not
soon.
met Santiago from Walking Dead,
He
you
is so
got
There
to
we
funny.
go.
meet him. He is
There it is.
absolutely freaking hilarious. We have Nomar. He is absolutely amazing as well. He's into UFOs. He's great. We have Sam. He is author. We have Chris Brown. He is an amazing psychic medium. He's a really good friend, and he is phenomenal. We also have Stacy Johnson. She played it. Stacy's gonna be there. We have Larry. He does a whole bunch. He is like a man of many talents. He does a whole bunch of like graphic designs for a lot of the paranormal. He does a whole bunch of workshops. He's going to be there as well. We have Chris Julian. He's a Maine native, and he does Bigfoot hunting. We have Kevin. He's a Bigfoot hunter as well. We have John Dugan. He's Grandpa Sawyer with Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
The Grandpa.
Donnie Green. He's the one who drove the semi. And then we have Danny and Lauren. They actually have they store haunted objects, and they also drive around in a hearse, and they'll be at Mass Paracon next weekend, and they go to a lot of events as well. So it's actually going to be a great event, and we're super excited about it. So definitely
I'm
come and
super
check it out.
excited too. I think it's
It's
going to be
going to be
great.
awesome. It's going to be fun.
Sure. Shirley Ann, what do you have? Do you have anything coming up? Anything you want to promote? Anything you want to talk about?
I do. So the Fleetwood Paracon, the Resurrection, is back. So that's October 26th, and that's in Brandy Station, Virginia. We have vendors during the day, and then we have an investigation at night. I think the investigation at night's already sold out, but tickets are being sold on Eventbrite to come. It's wonderful. It's a wonderful property. So we'll be investigating church that night. I'm glad to be back on property. It's my favorite. It's probably one of my favorite haunted sites, because it actually brought me to it, and it brought me back the second time.
Oh,
So
okay. It's one I've always wanted to do. I haven't been there yet.
Yeah, you need to come. It's worth it. Because I got to the church by it actually took me out of body in a dream and placed me in front of the church with a warning that I had to get to Donnie, who was the caretaker. And then just recently, because I had left the group, I was with Spirit Guides Paranormal for a while, and then I had left the group for a while, and they were doing an investigation at Donnie's house, and my name came over the ghost box, first and last name, and basically instructed them I needed to be reassimilated to the group and be brought back to Fleetwood. So
Oh, wow.
That's pretty neat when you're being called out by the spirit world to go back and do something. So Fleetwood needs me there. I'm not sure why, but I am back with that group and I'm back on the property. And
you'll find out why.
Well, the first time I went back, I went to the little room behind the sacristy, and I was overwhelmed. I was just, it was like broad daylight out, but every single spirit in that building was all over me. I could barely breathe and almost fell over. And I'm like, okay, guys, yeah, thanks. I'm back. I'm back. Yes, yes. I'm happy to see you too.
Yeah.
Let me breathe.
Yeah.
Something's coming that I need to be there for. I'm there for it.
Yeah, definitely. That sounds like that. And you said that's October 26th.
October 26th in Brandy Station at the historic Fleetwood Church. So you can check us out on there's the historic Fleetwood Church Facebook page. You can also check us out on the Spirit Guides Paranormal fan page on Facebook.
Awesome.
And tickets are being sold on Eventbrite.
So Sadie, I know you have an event you're sponsoring coming up here soon too. You want to talk a little bit about that one?
Sure. So it's the Lunar Fest Full Moon Celebration, which is November 16th and 17th, which is a Saturday and a Sunday. I'm not part of the Lunar Collective, but I have been a part of their event since the first event that they ever did. And we are the supreme sponsor for this event. So it's what it is it's a whole bunch of different practitioners and vendors, and they are still taking some applications for vendors and practitioners. So if you would like to participate, let me know. I can send you in the right direction. But it's free admission, and I just have a feeling it's going to be a very good event. And the Lunar Collective they're great people. They have pretty good energy. So I definitely, be there.
Where is it located?
Altoona, Pennsylvania. So
it's not far from where we just did that event, Ashley.
Yeah, so from Johnstown, it's probably like 45 minutes from Johnstown.
I'm in the middle of a podcast. Sorry. Children. I have children. So lots of good events coming on, lots of good, like you guys are all doing great things, spreading the light, spreading the love, trying to help others. Obviously, Shirley and I won't be able to be at your event because I have one myself that same day in Waynesboro at the Hoover House. And, as for there, I don't have any crazy events coming up for the rest of the year. I mean, I do events every weekend, but none that are actually like mine. I've got some things in the work for the beginning of next year. So stay tuned on those. And I think at that, we're going to call it a night. Any last words that you have before we end? We'll start with you, Shirley, and any last words?
Well, I want to thank you for having me on, and it was nice to meet you two ladies as well. I now have more witchy friends. Definitely connect with me on Facebook. I'm happy to build my community. If you have any questions or issues, anybody out there, if you have questions or issues that you want to reach out to me, I exist out there. Shirley Ann Spencer. You can't miss my face. So thank you so much, guys.
I can just say she's an amazing person. I just fell in love with her the first time I met her. I felt your energy. You had very similar energy. I think we have very similar backgrounds too.
Yeah.
We have very similar energy to mine. So I appreciate you and I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Ashley, any last words that you have for the crowd?
I'm glad to be on here, and it's really cool to talk to like-minded individuals. I don't have a lot of Wiccan friends out here, so it's kind of cool to get online and talk to people who are like-minded and believe in the same things I do, even if they're a little bit different.
We're all different. We're all different. We all come from a different mold.
We're all different, but have the same prerogative, I guess you would say.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Sadie, do you have any last words for the group, for the crowd, for anybody?
I do just want to, thank you, Stacey, for inviting me last minute. Even though it was a little unexpected, I did enjoy it. And I also am always up to building my community. I have a lot of non-local people just because my area is not exactly the best area for having kind of witchy friends. So feel free to find me. But you
probably are from one of the most haunted areas, and you're outside of Johnstown.
There's a cemetery very close to my house that no one wants to
Mhm.
do an investigation with me soon
Oh, I
because it's a
love
little scary,
cemeteries.
but
I'll come.
Let's
Oh
do
my
it.
God.
We're going.
I love
We're all
cemeteries.
going.
That's my
All
favorite.
right.
Mine too.
Yes,
All
but
right, we're all coming. So
okay,
Yes.
absolutely. More the
Girls'
merrier.
weekend.
girls' weekend in the cemetery.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what witches do, and that's where this bad name,
Yeah,
or
I know. I know.
mysterious name, comes from, because we love cemeteries, and we love dark things.
Mhm.
It's there's darkness in the light. That's like my logo.
Well, we
In life.
work in the liminal space in
Mhm.
between this
Yes,
life and the next.
the
So,
shadows. We work in the
yes.
shadows, and that's where some of this dark energies, like, or what is the, like, labeling came from, is from
Dark
Absolutely.
that.
is not evil. Dark is
Dark
not
is not
evil.
evil. Dark
Correct.
is not evil. So I want to thank you all for being on here tonight. I appreciate all of you. I'm when the live stream ends, it is going to run my outro video. You're free to stay on, or you can just end
My dog's saying goodbye.
and get off. Hello, dog, and goodbye, dog. I don't know the dog's name, so it's just dog
Echo.
right now. What is it?
Echo.
Echo.
Echo. I love
Hi,
that. I
Echo.
love that. So just remember, everybody, we appreciate you being on. We wouldn't be able to do this without you. You, the people that are commenting and liking and sharing. Please go over and give all of us a like and share. And remember, you cannot pour from an empty cup. Please fill your cup first.